Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now investment property. By the way, that is the statement, and the investment property is IAS 40. You know what I like about this? Lawyers, in most cases, lawyers they show off because when you argue with them, you know what they do? They quote acts. Even for us as
Yes.
accountants, we have got our own standards. For us, it's not acts; it's all about
Language.
the standards, the levels. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know the way lawyers show off. And I
Mm-hmm.
know one of the students I remember in the library. One of the days he I think he quoted an act in the library. He was arguing with the librarians there. He even said
Mm-hmm.
according to the act number. Hey, I was laughing, and he was the first year. He was using
Yo,
the act.
yo.
So, you know, he's making it practical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, property. So this is the standard itself. Okay. Um,
Okay.
like I said, from our past experiences, we didn't have to check whether something is investment property or not. As long as they were assets, they were all put into the PPE, put into the non-current assets. But now we need to separate the PPE from the investment property. Can you
Mm-hmm.
see now? And then this can be any property. Can be any property. Remember, by property, we are referring to both land, of is a very fashionable term in South Africa. Land, land every day. Everyone is talking about land. Okay,
Yeah.
bring
Mm-hmm.
back the land, and then or it can be any building. Can you see now?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it can be both because sometimes remember sometimes they say land and building they combine them together
Yes.
or part of it. It doesn't matter. It can be land, building, both, or part of them. Can you see now? As long
Mm-hmm.
as they satisfy some criteria at a later stage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so obviously we speak about the land and the building. Which
Mm-hmm.
are you still there?
Yes.
Are you having flu? Sign us. No problem.
Uh,
Now,
keep saying that.
it's okay. Sorry. So it means depending on the use of that particular property, that property will either be classified as investment or property, plant, and equipment. Did you hear what I said?
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the use of that land and building, we either classify it as investment property or
Mm-hmm.
property, plant, and equipment. But firstly, what is an investment property? Investment property is a property that aims to earn rentals. So if you have got a property and you are getting rentals out of that property will be classified as investment property. Did you get that?
Yes.
Sometimes, and it's the one that you did highlight today, you said sometimes, do you remember what you told me? Sometimes we don't want to earn rentals. What do? We just want that particular building to appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, like I buy to resell. I know that if I buy
Mm-hmm.
it today, I know in 6 months I buy it for 100,000. 6 months I can buy it for 200,000. That's what people do.
Yes.
Those who don't want to earn rentals, because if you want to earn rentals, it means there are other costs that you're going to be responsible for. So they don't want that. They just want to sell and make millions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe again that investment property, until it can have both conditions. By saying both, in other words, you are using that building as capital appreciation at the same time to earn rentals. Okay, it doesn't
And
matter as long as all these criteria are satisfied. Are you with me so far?
yes, sir.
Yes. But the question is, which land and buildings or property does not form part of investment property IAS 40? Those properties must not be not for production, not for supply
Okay.
of goods or services. Can you see now? So it means we must not use those buildings for. If you, the minute you use them for these purposes, they cannot qualify. The other one, not for like office work. You know the office buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, this is according to the standard, not for the sale. So all this will disqualify the asset or that particular asset from being what? A property. Are we together?
Okay.
So what this means, in other words, let's say I think that we were just talking at the previous exercise, we were talking about construction of the plant. Remember there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you're using in that space, you cannot, obviously, not for the production of or production of supply. Let me just put it like so that it can make sense. I think I should have said production of goods or services. So as long as you are not using it for production and you are not using it to sell goods and services, like you're not using it as a spaza shop, you understand what I mean? Yes. And that you're not using it for admin purposes, like for example, office buildings. Like you can check some companies hire, they rent out some space in some office park. Remember those office parks. As long as you are not using it for that, and as long as your main aim is not to sell, those people who are selling property, people who are selling property, those who are in property business. Are you still with me?
Yes.
So those who are in property business, obviously, they cannot classify their properties as investment property. That's why I said not for the sale in the ordinary course of the business. It means my main aim is not to sell properties.
Mm-hmm.
So if your property or building falls within this, it won't qualify to be under investment property in terms of the standard. It must only be used to earn rentals or for capital appreciation. It's then that you will say that asset qualifies to be IAS 40 investment property.
Okay.